Oh my gosh, this thing's awesome. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So for today's video, I am going through a basic overview of the Scan My Tesla app. It is made by e-mobility driving solutions. So this is a just basically a wire harness adapter that gets installed behind the center console. There's no wire cutting or anything like that that's required. It's just purely a plug-in adapter that the factory wire harness separates at a Molex plug behind the center console, and you put this wire harness adapter in place, and what it does is it adds an OBD2 port output to the car's wiring, at which point you can plug in an OBD2 Bluetooth dongle that plugs in and broadcasts Bluetooth. At that point, you download the Scan My Tesla app, and when you purchase this kit, which was $148 or something like that. Oh, and sidebar, this is not any kind of product sponsorship. I paid full price for the kit. It's just something I wanted. But when you order the kit, then you get a voucher for the app, because the app is $9.50 and at the Google Play Store. So, I believe it's only available currently for Android. I could be wrong. You can email eMobility and find out, but I believe it's currently only available for Android. So I have it. I paid for the app separately so I could have it on two different devices. I have it on my cell phone and I have it on the tablet. Now, this thing gives you a monstrous amount of information. Performance data, which is battery voltage. Right now I'm at 83% state of charge, which is 392 volts. Battery power in kilowatts. R power, which is probably rotor power. Torque. Stator temperature. Steering angle, steering speed, the speed in which you're moving the wheel, accelerator pedal percentage, brake pedal, whether it's on or off, power consumption, and which is your instantaneous watt hours per mile, average battery cell temperature, speed, and then this is packets per second. I believe that's the sampling rate that it's looking at data from the car. You can select speed, and there's purely your miles per hour. So next is temperatures. I mean, look at this. This is all individual temperatures in the car. We've got series parallel. Not sure what that is. It's giving me a 100%. Battery flow, which I'm assuming would be coolant flow, powertrain flow, and rotor or PCB temperature. Rear PCB temperature, rear inverter temperature. My car is a rear wheel drive only. I believe the all-wheel drive cars would have front and rear. Rear stator temp, rear heat sink temperature, cell temperature max, cell temperature middle, cell temperature minimum, battery inlet temperature, powertrain inlet temperature, outside temperature, and they give it in fractional degrees. It says 21 degrees Fahrenheit on my screen. It says 21.2 Fahrenheit here. Target point active cool. So that's apparently a temperature, the temperature at which active cooling is triggered. I'm not sure. Target point passive. So passive cooling. I'm not sure the difference between the two. Target point active cool, there's a secondary reading here. This might be for two separate drivetrains if I had an all-wheel drive car. Target battery active heat, 19.4 degrees. So apparently at 19.4 degrees Fahrenheit is when the car will actively begin heating the battery. That's interesting. And front left brake estimate temperature. Not sure how it knows that. Front right brake estimated temperature, rear left brake estimated temperature, and right rear brake estimated temperature. Have no clue how it would know that, but that's the data on the temperatures. The HVAC system is the next tab, and I have it set for different gauge type, and that's another thing. You can go through and set different gauge types and gauge sizes. Interesting stuff, but they give evaporator enabled blower speed, evaporator temperature, evaporator target, duct left, duct right, heat left, heater right, cabin humidity, cabin temp probe. I mean, it's crazy how much data that they give on this thing. Next tab is battery, and this is every bit of battery information you could potentially want. So we've got battery voltage, which is currently sitting at 390 volts. Now if I accelerate, there's 366 volts. So that's called battery sag. I'm going to do another video just specifically on battery voltage sag. Battery current, battery power, maximum discharge power, maximum regen power, which is interesting. I show regen limited on the screen here, and it shows that I have 24.7 kilowatts of regen power available. Maximum pack voltage listed at 403 volts. Max pack voltage, or excuse me, minimum pack voltage 241 volts. Max discharge current is 1340 amps is what this is set for. I don't know if that's what it has read or if that's what the car, I think that's the car's programming limit, 1340 amps. Maximum charge current 62.1 amps. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. And what I'm going to do, I think, is go do a separate video on every single individual data point that that this app gives for the car. But that just will sort of whet your appetite on what you can expect. And this thing, it's downright incredible, really. The massive amount of data that is available on this. Now, bear in mind that this is not a Tesla item. Just like with my adjustable screen mount, if you install this, you know, you're kind of taking your car into your own hands, so to speak. Although it's pretty idiot-proof to install. You'd really have to mess up badly to install it. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the install here. All right, guys. So what you get in this kit, which here's the business card that I was sent. So there's the information, and you can go ahead and go to their website, send them an email, give them a phone call if you want to order this. If I remember correctly, I believe it was $149. What you get is this OBD2 port, Bluetooth broadcaster there, and then you don't get two of these, you will get one or the other, but I wanted to show you both because there are two different sizes. Now, the critical difference is this connector width. So I got my handy dandy caliper here, and yes, I know it's flashing. Let me zero this here. The battery's low, but it'll work just fine. So let's see. We'll go ahead and measure this. So the wider connector, 39.6, basically 40 millimeters wide, and then the narrower connector, 33 millimeters wide. So let's go ahead and switch that to inches. So 1.3 inches for the narrower one, or 1.5 inches for the wider one. And you're going to want to make absolutely sure you know which one you need. If you email them the year or maybe even the VIN of your car, I'm not sure, but I know that it depends on the year that your car was made. I thought it was maybe U.S. spec versus overseas for the difference, but there is something having to do with the production date. So you'll want to provide the manufacturer with the production date to make sure that you get the right one. I actually got the incorrect harness to begin with, so they sent me the other one, but we agreed that it would be best for me to keep both so I could do a video on this illustrating the two before I send back the other one. So let's go ahead and dig into the car and get it installed. All right, so what you want to do is get into the back seat of your car, ignore the boxes and the toolbox. This is my work car after all. Oh, as a side note, if you're ever going to put something heavy in the seat, always buckle the seat belt, because otherwise you're going to get a notification on the screen that that you have a passenger without their seatbelt buckled. So just a little tip for you if you're going to put weight on the seat of your car. I also always have a pad both underneath and behind my toolbox to protect the seat. Keeps the material from being marred. Anyway, I do have scuffs on it. Anyway, so what you want to do is first kill power to the car, which is a matter of disconnecting the harness under the seat and the 12-volt battery under the hood. I have a separate video on that. I will link that at the end of this video. Then what you want to do is remove this cover here, and that is just simply pulled forward. So you can get in there with a screwdriver, pop one corner, go ahead and pop the other corner, and this cover pulls off. You can set that aside, and here's your connector. So you want to disconnect that. There is a, this is kind of awkward to show here, I apologize, but there's a little pin there that you want to pull. So there we go, it's disconnected, but you need to press this release in right there to get it to release, and then you take your adapter and you plug it in place here. So I'm holding the camera with one hand and doing this with the other, so bear with me. There we go, I had it backwards. So you want to plug that connector in and then plug the other side in. There we go. And you can kind of turn and stuff the harness slightly up underneath there to just sort of curve it over so it doesn't hit the side of the cover. And then you've got your OBD2 port here. And now I've been told you can plug this in and stuff it inside here. And I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to leave my cord under and just sort of tuck it to the side so I can get to it if I need to. So the next thing is to plug in this OBD2 Bluetooth broadcaster. So there we go. Now we'll go ahead and snap the cover back on. And like I said, I'm going to leave this wire coming out. There we go. And that wire is loose underneath there. There is some capacity to move it around. So I'm going to go ahead and tuck this OBD2 broadcaster over to the side there just to get it out of the way. So there we go. It's tucked in nice. Again, you can put it in behind there, but I may want to access it occasionally, so I'm going to leave it there. So the next thing is to activate the car and download the app, and we'll see how it works. So as you can see, it's pretty easy. You pop that cover off just with a screwdriver or if you have a plastic pry tool, to pop that cover off, plug the adapter in, plug the OBD2 dongle on, download the app, and there you go. Now, I will say this, that the pairing this with the OBD2 dongle isn't necessarily the easiest thing in the world. And I noticed this, if you go online and read reviews for the Scan My Tesla app, and also on a couple of online forums, guys were mentioning that it was difficult to get it to pair with their car. A couple guys said they never did get it to work. I was one of those guys. I couldn't get it to work initially. In fact, I called Germany. It was a 28-minute phone call, I think. I'm curious to see what my phone bill is for that. And talked to Michael from eMobility. I think he's a one-man company. I don't know. But anyway, I talked to Michael. He was good to talk to. Little communication gap. He does speak English, but he phrases things in a way that I wasn't necessarily understanding, so it took a little while. But basically, I had to jump through a bunch of hoops to get this thing to pair. I got it to pair with my phone pretty easily, but with the tablet, it was a pain. What I ended up having to do was turn off Bluetooth on my phone, go into the Bluetooth on my screen here, and tell it to forget everything on the screen, well, other than my key card, but these Bluetooth devices. I had to make the car forget those devices. I had to restart, turn off and restart the tablet, unplug the OBD2 dongle, plug it back in, and kind of start from scratch. Then it synced just fine. And then what I did is I went back into the Bluetooth settings and told it to search for new devices to reactivate my phone as a device. And right now it's connected with my phone named Matt's Key Fob, but it works just fine. I get in the car and it automatically, the OBD2 dongle automatically syncs right up with the tablet. My phone syncs right up with the car, and all is right with the world. It was like once it initially established a connection between the tablet and the OBD2 dongle, then it was good. And I can turn off the tablet and turn it back on. I can turn the car off and on in any sequence, and it always just fires right up. So now that it's working great. But it was a little bit of a bear to get it initially to work. So just bear that in mind. Michael is kind of like me with the screen mounts. He's just a cottage industry doing this on his own, writing the app, making the wire harness adapters. And we spoke at length on the phone about why he did this. And he wanted to make an inexpensive option. Right now you can get a Motec dash to go in front of the steering wheel from Mountain Pass Racing. Really cool, and it gives some of this data, like 10% of this data. Well, maybe more than that, but it's a really cool looking dashboard. It's a display. It's really cool, but it's almost $3,000. It's like $2,890 for that, and I just can't stomach the thought of that. It would be nice to have a console in front of me, and in fact, I was considering mounting my cell phone here to have the information in front of the wheel, but it's refreshing at such a fast rate and all the numbers are moving around. It's kind of good to not have it in your direct line of sight, but to be able to glance down and see it on occasion if you need to. I may put my phone up here for doing some deeper testing and be able to see it more directly in my line of sight, but for now that's kind of neither here nor there. I'm just getting used to using it. So if you guys want to order it, go online. I have no business connection with Michael at all. He has been very friendly about giving me some information on future things that they're working on, and configuring your own dashboard basically with the app and that kind of thing. It does have also a 0 to 60 timer built in, and so that's kind of cool. But anyway, he's working on other things that he said he'd love to work with me on. So real nice guy to deal with. A Model 3 in blue, beautiful car. So that's my overall review of the Scan My Tesla app for now. I will be diving deeper. This will become a video series on both the wiring side of this as well as the app side. And but for now, this is just a brief overview. But I want to get into how to read each one of these data points, how to apply them, and so there's probably going to be a dozen or more videos coming up in the future where I go more in depth in this. If you go to Dirty Tesla's YouTube channel, he was talking about battery degradation, and that information can be found specifically on this app. And your current battery capacity, which you can then infer battery degradation based on what the initial capacity was, and energy buffer, which is how many kilowatt hours Tesla has in reserve on the battery. All that stuff is available on through this app. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I'll be diving deep into this in the coming weeks. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up, like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I am super excited about this. I mean, the amount of data available is monstrous with this thing. So one last bit of info, those of you that have been asking about the crack in my windshield screen, it will be $1,080 total. Tesla sent me a quote on that. So my insurance company will be reimbursing me everything but my $250 deductible, and I'll do a video on that when it gets all done. So thanks, guys. Have yourselves a wonderful day.